Welcome back to the Global Builder's Guide, Episode 8. I'm Enigmius, and today we are taking a break from the coordinate system and turtles, and we're focusing a bit on making the whole system a little more user-friendly. Right now, it is not at all user-friendly. It makes a lot of assumptions that the current user, whoever is using it, knows how to set it up, how to use it, what's going here and what's going there, and what happens if something goes wrong, which is not good programming. For where it is, it's not horrible, but if I were to suddenly dump the script on Pastebin and say, here, it's done, I think there would be like maybe 3 people who would try it, and 4 of them would tell me that I'm an idiot. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. So one of the things that I have to kind of sort out here is what options are available to me to make it more user-friendly. Now, I hinted, I think in the last episode, about the advanced monitors and how when we start using the advanced monitors, it gives us the option to use this giant monitor thing here as like a touch screen. So you can actually interact with this giant monitor and send information via your input where you're touching on the screen to control whatever you want, whatever it's programmed to do. While we're using the basic computer and the basic monitors, this giant monitor here is nothing more than a display. It's like a TV. It has no means of providing input except for what it gets through the connected computer. So that's something that I had to keep in mind. But at the same time, the benefit of a monitor like this is it allows me to be standing back here and see information that's being displayed without having to go up and right-click on the computer itself. Now, obviously, I've got my little platform in the way here because the assumption is that this would be set up for an advanced monitor, and I was just kind of playing around to see how that might look. But in the end, I want to make sure that the first script that goes out makes use of the regular monitor and the regular computers so that people who don't have a stack and a half of gold ingots to make the advanced components can still get use out of it and still feel like they're receiving useful information and they're able to interact with the computer in a useful way. So that's basically what I've been focusing on the last couple of days, and I'll just show you what I've got so far because it's actually kind of neat. You may take for granted some of the things that our newfangled computers do until you actually have to try and make the computer do it yourself. Now, I've given this the extension LUA because I'm editing it in a program called Eclipse. For those who are familiar, the final scripts will not have the extension. It just makes my life a little bit easier because I get the context-sensitive stuff. Anyways, it's a startup file, and you can see I've got sort of a split screen sort of mechanism going on here. The top part of the screen in the terminal here just stays where it is because that's where the menu is. You can see beside the word load, I've got the flashing greater than sign and the dash to kind of draw your eye to that menu that you can interact with or will eventually be able to interact with. Move the cursor around, select different items from the menu, and then down below is a terminal listing of whatever information I decide to output to the terminal. Things like devices that are connecting, what it's receiving messages from, turtles, relay computers, whatever. All the information that I want the user to be able to see can scroll on this bottom 2/3 or so of the screen without impairing the user's ability to make use of the menu. So this is, if the user is keeping an eye on whatever is scrolling across the screen, they don't have to sit there thinking they can't use the terminal or they'll miss it because it's scrolling right here. But then if we close the terminal, as you may have already seen, and I'll try and get the right angle so that you can see this, we've got something very similar going on here. Do the wiggle, there we go, that's not too bad. We've got something similar going on here in that we've got the giant monitor that has also got a segment of the screen dedicated just to messages that are coming through the system from the various different devices on the network, the turtles, the relay computers, the GPS computers, etc. And it's all scrolling. There's plenty of room to see plenty of messages. Now, in this case, I'm actually trapping the event from the timer that's making the cursor in the terminal go. You won't normally see this much scrolling up the screen at any given time unless you've got an extremely busy network. So this will be plenty of room for the user to be able to see what's going on, making sure, hey, is my turtle okay? Is there a message or a warning about my turtle recently? Whatever ends up being printed here, I think it's a pretty good size for that. And then in addition to that scrolling bit, you can see I've got it now set up. It does a quick scan of whatever files are in the computer's main directory, looking for the GCT files, and those are the global coordinate table files that are, call it, proprietary to this project. Basically contains the coordinates that this system can use to build a structure. Now, one of the viewers on my channel tried out the script, ran into some difficulties with some crashes and errors, and one of the first ones came from not having the GPS tower GCT file, and that was the only one that I had on offer at the time. So one of the things that came to my mind is I should have something that at least shows what files are in that folder, so you know as soon as you turn on the computer and run this script, they're all showing up, okay, that's good, or there's nothing showing up, I may have made a mistake when I copied it into the directory, or what's going on. Gives the user an idea of something is wrong, and is very specific in terms of what it might be. If they're then asking for help, they say, hey, I turned it on and I've downloaded the files, but I don't know where they are, and it says that it doesn't recognize that they're there. So there's that, there's the scrolling bit, and then there's, again, the listings for all of the different devices on the network. Now you can see they're all empty now, and that's because I've actually been messing around with this computer. The Turtle and the other computers have long since sent their registration messages. They now all think that they're properly registered, and they're not in use. So that's why you don't see anything showing up here right now, is because I've reset this computer since we did the registrations. And that's really sort of the heart of what I got done, and it actually took a lot longer than I thought it would just to get this far. But now I'm in a position where I can set up nested menus, and this is already set up so that I can produce a menu of any size that I want. Really, the menu could come 2/3 the way down the screen, and you would still get those 5 lines or so at the bottom scrolling with information coming in on the network, and then the menu taking up as much space as it needs to provide all the options and all the listings. And I'm also going to set it up so that if it goes beyond a certain threshold, like say beyond 2/3 of the screen, it'll actually scroll the menu options within the screen. So we're making use of the real estate as well as we possibly can. I don't expect to see too many situations, especially on the basic computers where someone has so many things going on that their menu would be that full. Basically, what I'm thinking is if someone's got a lot of GCT files, you know, the project does okay, people start using it to survey their own stuff, and they start uploading it and sharing it with people. Here's the thing, if you want to make it, here's the GCT file, whatever. Someone downloads them all, and then they go to try and load one to build with the Turtle. That could be quite a lengthy menu. So I want to make sure that there's the option to scroll within, again, without disturbing the whole screen. So if you've got 5 rows down at the bottom here that are scrolling, they should stay there when you start scrolling menus up and down. So I would expect by the next episode we will have at least the very basics of a menu. The goal, I find it's easier to set a goal in terms of what I want it to be able to do instead of just a arbitrary stage in development, will be to be able to navigate through the menus to the Turtle menu, select a builder that happens to be on the network connected and idle, and started working on a build project. So that's definitely a worthwhile goal to have, and I think it's reasonable for the next episode, and also would put us pretty close to being in a position to do the next snapshot, which is kind of fun. I have to do a quality pass and a logic pass on the Turtles, make sure that they're behaving, make sure that the network communication systems are behaving so that we're not getting the central computer barfing out all of the coordinate blocks to a Turtle that's not listening and then thinking that the whole thing is done. So there's all kinds of things that I have to work on, but we're definitely making progress, and I just love the idea of these windows scrolling within windows. I feel like Bill Gates, really, 30 years ago when he was making DOS, dreaming of Windows. This is probably how it started in Minecraft. Food for thought. So that's where we're at. I didn't want to make this a long one, but I did definitely want to show you some visual aspects of progress It's always nice when you can actually see the progress instead of me just talking about the code. The next episode, we should see more of that. We should ideally see a turtle start to build one of the double helix towers, which would be kind of cool. So by all means, comments and feedback, leave them in the comment section below the video. Thanks for watching, guys, and take care.